There we are. We're live. Hold
Happy
on.
Sunday.
I'm gonna go share. I'm gonna go
I'm
share.
gonna
Hold
share
on.
it too.
All right. We're gonna. I think we're gonna crush it with views this week because we have the star-studded Sophia on with us.
The star-studded. I like that. Star-studded.
This, my amazing friend who I've known for almost 8+ years now.
Yes.
All right. Now I see it. Join us.
So we're good. We're live. Happy Sunday, everyone.
Happy Sunday.
Jessica's gonna read off our mission statement
that I just wrote down, so I'm getting better by memory. Greater Walthian Recovery Solution mission is to create funds and awareness to connect people with treatment, access to recovery coaches in the community, provide accessibility for treatment for veterans, right? Have veterans have more option instead of just the VA, and open up the windows and opportunities for them, and scholarshiping people into sober living. Boom.
Boom. That's
Boom.
right. A little family consulting, helping people get into treatment, helping families work with their loved one who may be using. And yeah, scholarships. That's the big one. We want to scholarship people for safe, reputable, sober living. Mm-hmm. So if you want to help us out, please contact Julie Bunch, myself, Jess, Deb Moore, of course. We all have the banking info. And then I'd also like to give a shout out to Kim, who's our social media expert. She posts all our content. Superstar. Linda, our assistant secretary, always helping out with the administrative stuff. And Mandy, just a powerhouse.
Yep.
And Richie Evans, the wolf.
The handsome wolf.
The handsome wolf.
The handsome wolf is actually his technical title, I think.
That's what he wants, but hey, we'll roll with it. It applies. So tonight we have Sophia, friend of mine. She's been in recovery for 8 years. I met her once. She, finally sought out recovery for herself. She works in treatment, aspiring nurse, works at the Bridge Clinic at MGH, right? Is a resource specialist.
Yeah.
And that must have been tough the last few months with all that was going on and, restrictions and all that, being right there on the front lines at the hospital. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I'd be in like panic mode. So tell us a little bit about like your story, like what made you seek recovery? Like what was going on in your world that forced you into the, sorry, go ahead.
Maybe I'll just do that every time I have a comment. So I'm not interrupting.
Yeah, I like that.
So one of our top fan, Miss Teresa Legerio, happy Sunday, everyone.
Hi, Mom.
Hello. Hi, Mickey's mom.
So just dive right in.
Okay. Basically, it was like drawing a line in the sand. I truly believe when you're done, it's something that you feel deep down in your soul that you're done. I had used for about 10+ years. I started like in high school as a teenager experimenting like everybody else. I didn't think it was anything like detrimental or awful because like these things you could get from CVS and like our parents were on them and you found them in the pill bottles in your bathroom or in your friends' bathrooms. And that's basically where it started. It started because I was anxious. It started, I was never like confident in self. It started because I couldn't find the ability to be okay with who Sophia was, basically. And putting something in me made me unaware of who I was and not care about exactly what you thought of me. So it just progressed. It progressed, and like what started out to be fun. I was able to like go to college, and there I lost control, and everything that I had worked so hard for. I was like a straight A student. I like played sports, and I was like always really quiet and shy and like timid. And next thing I know, like everything was gone. The job, the home, the car, the education. I started off at Boston University, and like it just didn't go well whatsoever. And after everything was said and done, I was basically in Chelsea. In Chelsea with a boyfriend that I couldn't stand. And basically just running amok. And I had no friends. My family didn't want me around. Like my this disease doesn't like run rampant in my family. I was fortunate to grow up in a really, really good home. Both of my parents worked really hard to provide us with everything. They immigrated over here. Like I'm like first generation. So
Wow.
on paper, this shouldn't have been me. If you talk to my mother, on paper, I should be a doctor and like married to a
Right.
doctor with 2.5 kids living in Winchester. And that's just
Yeah.
not, that's not what you got.
Right. Because it doesn't discriminate, right? It doesn't matter. It
No,
doesn't matter
no,
what
that is
your life,
one.
how your life is supposed to be, or this or that. It just something just sets it off. you know?
Exactly. Like addiction does not discriminate. It doesn't matter like where you came from or what
Right.
funds you have or who you know. It takes you and it breaks you, and it's like you either die or you either get straight.
Right. Exactly. Or what is it? Jails, institutions, and death. Right?
Exactly. And I had that like one fleeting moment where I was just like, maybe I want to try this. Like maybe there's another way.
What do you think that was? That like that moment that what was? We don't have to go into your rock bottom. I don't know where Mike went either. I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah.
But
The difficulty.
you know, you said you were going to be you. You know, you were doing all these things. It was on paper. It was. I'm not an addict. I'm not an alcoholic. Like I have all these things. I have this facade that I've built that kind of like. So what do you think it was?
And it was that facade that I held on for so long. Because
Right.
for so long, people would like look at me and they just wouldn't think that like that was my story. So I was able to like run a lot longer. I feel like
Right.
because I was able to keep a facade in a mask.
Right.
But after a while, it got so heavy and it got so weary and tiring, and like no amount of drugs worked.
Right.
Like, nothing worked to give me energy. Nothing worked to give me like any type of self-love or any notion of self-care. Like my rock bottom was like gas empty, the car's like puttering, like at
Yeah.
the
Right.
it's like, what do you do? What do you do? Do I just stand still and like wait for like a bus to like run me over the road?
Or do you do something about it?
Yeah. Or I try. I just try. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. Like you get stuck in a mindset and you think you like know it all. Like I had to like ask for help. I had to take suggestions, and like I'm 25 and I know it all. And
We know everything. At 20, especially at 25, we know it all.
Done that.
And taking suggestions from someone else and us not being in control is such like a we're not used to it. That's not what we want. We want everything to be our way in this way. And especially when you're first getting clean and sober, it's like, we're not going to take a suggestion. Who are you? You don't know me. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what makes me tick. Why would I listen to you?
Exactly. Relinquishing like that control was extremely difficult and something that I still struggle with today. Like, you know, my boyfriend the other day was like, you're a control freak. Like you need to have control. And if you ask me that, I'd never put that down on paper because I don't feel like that I am.
Right.
But like it's so bound and like wound up in me.
I swear, because it's what is that? It's the fear of not being in control, right? One of the fears, like the fear of not being good enough, the fear of rejection, of all those things. And then here we are. We don't think we're control freaks, but then you try to tell us how to control our sobriety and our drug use. Oh, there's Mike's popping back on. We have a couple questions too before he comes back.
I'm back.
He's transitioning back. So Mandy said,
hey. I don't know.
Irish goodbye again.
I don't know what happened. My Wi-Fi around here is acting up. I don't know. I had to just take it off the Wi-Fi and then it let me back on.
I know sometimes those technology things can be tricky. So Mandy said, hi, everyone. I love you all. And she said, love you, Sophie. You're amazing. You were such a help to me when I was at Banyan. So Mandy said that.
Hi, Mandy.
Wow, you've been at Banyan that long that Mandy was a client then?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And Mandy's someone who
that's like years ago.
Yeah.
every single day, you know, Mandy. Amanda Lawley said, love from the UK.
Oh,
wow.
Wow.
What is it? International superstar?
International team.
Let's see, what else? Patrick Gallagher said, yes, queen, love you, Sophia.
Thank you.
Tiara Toro, one of my coworkers, said, love that you guys share your own personal stories. I love listening to them when I see the lives. So thank you, Tiara. She works in our call center at Calm Health, and she is one of the most compassionate, tries to help everyone, people, and she's just awesome. So thank
Absolutely.
you, Tiara.
That's so
Oh,
important. That's so important for that role too, because you're the first contact a lot of people have had with,
Yep.
you know.
Right. And she has two parents that, suffer from this disease, and she just, wants to help everyone. A lot of the people that I reach out to Mike about come from Tiara, who call the call
Okay,
center.
good.
So here it all works. It's connected.
Yeah.
Happy to be helping. Yeah, hell yeah.
And then someone asked, where did they immigrate from? To your family?
Oh, my family's from Haiti. Yes.
Okay.
Nation.
What is drug addiction like? How is it? Is it completely
Not
frowned?
discussed and not talked about whatsoever.
Okay.
Like, I definitely have an uncle who probably suffers from alcoholism, but like you can't tell my mom that. You can't tell him that. It's like he'll just act straight. Like you could pray it out of him. They're extremely Catholic. Like my mom is a Bible thumper. She like in my active addiction, I'd like wake up sometimes and like I'd be covered in water because she like went and got holy water and was like, I'm gonna get the devil out of me.
Guys it out of you.
Yeah.
You're like, last night must have been a good one. I'm
Right?
sweating through my shirt.
Like I don't understand what's going on here.
She's praying over you with the cross,
So
So that brings
not
up a good question. So like you were battling against the stigma heavy. I'm sure it was tough for you to out yourself to your parents. I mean, did you guys go over that while I was away? But
no. Like I have to say, like one of my bottoms, like one of my heaviest bottoms was discussing that like with my family. Because like for so long they just didn't like understand. I was able to blame it on a boyfriend that I had, or why was money missing. So like I said, I was able to keep up a facade. And then like eventually when it was time for me to like go get help, I was like, oh, I kind of have to like get honest with them. And they didn't believe me at first. Like who would lie about having to like shoot heroin? Like who would lie about that? And I was like, this is what I am and this is what I do. And to tell you the truth, like one of my last like nights out there, one of my last like pickups, my mother took me in order to show her.
Yeah.
Like we went, and before I went to detox, like she would drive me to Westboro, and like we went to Chelsea. We had to wait for like 45 minutes. Like this woman who's like, and if you know my mother, she's extremely proper. Like they're afraid of the law. She drives nice cars. She likes nice and fancy things. And like she's like in Chelsea, like looking back and forth, like what is going on? And I did everything in front of her. And that's one of my like biggest regrets. Like I just didn't care. Like it was, you could have took me to the McDonald's and me to the bathroom. I just didn't care. Like I was sick. I felt like shit. And like I did everything in front of her. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think that was like in a way to prove to her that you are an addict? Like, when you
that was the only way that was the only way I was going to detox. Like she would have just locked up in my room.
Right.
Like that was the only way I was going to get any type of help. And that's how I felt at the time. Like maybe I could have like, sat and like explained it to her. But at the time, like I was like, you have money, you have funds. And like, I want to stop. And this is what's happening. Like, I just didn't care. But like to see like the pain and anguish, like in her eyes, like that's a look I'll never forget. That's a feeling I'll never like unfeel.
Right.
So it was like, hey, I'll go into treatment now, but Mom, you're getting me my last fix, and so I can get off E, and then we'll talk about treatment, because I'm not going into treatment sick. I know that for in my case, I would never go into treatment sick.
And it was just like a whirlwind. Like it went from me telling them like at 4 PM to me like doing that with her at like 7. Like they just would never ever put it together that I was an addict and I was actively using. Like I was able to hold on and like piece together some type of picture for them. And I just wasn't there. Like I just refused to be there. Like I would use anywhere but my home. Like, going on, and it just like there's nothing going on up there. I'm originally from Somerville, so I wasn't there. They just knew that like I was absent-minded and that like maybe something was going on, and they had money missing. Like I said, they worked really hard for everything that they had, and I just like fleeced them. I fleeced them.
So we have a couple comments. So James Richardson says hi.
Hi.
What's up, Jimmy James?
Mandy said Banyan family for life for sure.
Woo woo.
Tiara said teamwork makes the dream work. Very true. Teamwork does. I say that to my 5-year-old all the time too. Olga Ann Castillo says, hi, love. Sent new here to this group here, and thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Every Sunday at 7, tune in.
Yep. Sundays at 7.
So let's talk about your pathway to recovery right now, or multiple pathways to recovery. What do you believe in? Like, what do you believe that works? I know, especially working at the Bridge Clinic, and your recovery coach specialties and all that stuff. You guys are, you guys have training and all that. So
exactly, I completely believe in multiple pathways. Like, my story doesn't necessarily have to be like your story. Honestly, it's what you do to give yourself that pause and that opportunity to gain and attract a better life for yourself. Like, so I truly don't care like what it looks like. Like, you're trying, and my role as a resource specialist is to help. And that's what I feel deep down. My pathway was Narcotics Anonymous. I do the 12 steps. I sponsor women. I have a sponsor. I go to meetings. That's my pathway. And if you have more questions about it, like, feel free to ask. And if that's not where you want to go, I have other ways too. So let me know what you want to do. Like, it's really meeting people where they're at, because even in Narcotics Anonymous, I was met exactly where I was at. Like, I was not willing. I was not fluffy. I was not lovable. Like, I came around, I did a lot of crap stuff. Like,
right.
just because I put down the drug, like, you have to deal with trauma around here. You have to deal with things of the past. I truly believe, like, you pick up and you just stop. Like, you stop, like, growing. So, like, I got at like 25, and it's like, oh wait, I'm 16 again. Like, but life is longer. Like, I'm 16 again. Like, I have responsibilities. I have to show up for work. I have to, like, learn to be a woman. So
we gotta learn how to grow up in recovery, because we're so stunted when we're using, when we're numbing this and numbing that, and like you just mentioned, the trauma, right? Trauma, abuse, anxiety, depression. These are all reasons that we use, right? And why we drink or whatever, to numb that pain. And so when we've been numbing it for so long, and then when we get sober, it's like, how do we function? Like, how do we live? How do we grow up? I loved what you said too about changing. You're not changing when we're not changing, right? We're stunted.
No, exactly. And you have to, like I said, you have to be able to do whatever allows you that process. So if it's a maintenance drug, please go. Like I said, I work at the Bridge Clinic. We are a transitional Suboxone and Vivitrol and Sublocade clinic. We usually get people from the ED. We take self-referrals, because we're like a no barrier kind of attempt. Like, you don't have to, like, stop immediately. We're just trying to give you the opportunity for the next day, basically. So if it's not today, like, let's help you make it to tomorrow.
So if you get a patient from the ED and they and they diagnose him with a substance use disorder, what's the turnaround for getting them on any of those medications that the Bridge provides?
So if we're thinking of Suboxone, we were the first ED in the state of Massachusetts to do the starter packs. So if you're like, I want to get on it, then you get like a 3-day starter pack, and within those 3 days, you're seen by a provider.
Nice.
At the Bridge Clinic.
So they would be discharged, and then they'd come back within those 3 days?
Yep. And if they are inpatient, then they are seen by the addiction consult team, which I also work for as well. It's like a dual role. Yeah. And you get, like, and the addiction consult team, like, if you get admitted and you choose, like, you don't want to do Suboxone, they can actually get you initiated on methadone, and then before you discharge, like, find you a methadone clinic to wherever you're going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. That's good.
But we're able to do that inpatient wise.
And the 3 days, that's, you're in the ED, you're admitted to the ED. Mm-hmm. You can get the person on same day, same day. Wow, that's amazing.
And then if you're, like, there during business hours, they'll probably, like, just walk you right over. Before this COVID, our business hours, like, we were open like 9 to 9.
Yeah.
9 Monday. Yeah.
9 to 9. Wow.
9 to 9. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. Sorry. Mm-hmm. So tell us how operations looked like while COVID. We're still in COVID, but like what in the prime.
You read my mind.
Yeah. So right now we're Monday through Friday. We're open 9 to 5 on site every day. There's at least a provider. There's like a secretary, and then there's like one supporting role. There's a medical assistant and one supporting role. Because like I said, we also offer Sublocade, which is the monthly injection, kind of like in your belly. So we have patients come in like regularly for that injection, for the Vivitrol injection, and then everyone else gets telehealth. So I do a lot of telehealth. I'm in about 3 days a week with the Monday through Friday hours, but I'm available Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Like they give us a cell phone, they give us pages. I have the laptop for telehealth. So.
And so a person that's enrolled in the Bridge Clinic, they have to engage with their resource specialist, right? Is that a requirement for being in the program?
Everyone goes through me because as a transitional clinic, our goal is to get you stable to a place either on medication or like life-wise in order to find you your long-term home kind of.
Right.
So with that, I'm like the person that does it.
Nice.
Yeah. So I touch every patient, every patient once or twice. Yeah.
So have you guys slowed down, you feel like, since COVID? Like has more people?
No, whatsoever.
No.
I think because of word of mouth. Yeah, I think because of word of mouth and people unable to like reach their regular providers, especially in the first couple of months, like things just kind of went like astray. Like things went crazy and people just couldn't reach their doctors. We got so many calls and like I said, like you get on it like immediately. And we also can offer for our patients that need it, like, you know, we have transitional services for therapy. Like we have therapists on board, we have psychiatrists on board. So we kind of try to like full-fledged it. And we also have like a little spin-off clinic called the Hope Clinic. And that's for pregnant mothers and their children for 2 years. And that also offers like a primary care stance as well. So like as soon as like, you know, you pee on that stick, you come over to the Hope Clinic and like they hold you for 2 years and they help you with DCF cases and they help you with like housing. Yeah. Like we really try to do our best. And
that's an important aspect too. You know, women that are pregnant and or is it new mothers too, or just pregnant women?
Yeah. What was that?
Is it new mothers too, or just pregnant women?
It's new mothers as well. It's new mothers. Yeah, you just have to have a substance use disorder and either be pregnant or a child under 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you accept every insurance provider.
So with the Bridge Clinic, we accept every insurance because the way that like our funding and grant is, like we're supposed to be like, you know, readily access. You can come to the ED and you don't know what's going on with your insurance. You could be from out of state. Like I have patients that live in Maine. I have patients that live in New Hampshire. I have patients that live in Florida.
Right.
So it's like DPH picks up the bill if they're not covered. Exactly. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Or whatever your grant funding is coming from.
Exactly. And that's why they try to also keep it transitional. Like, you know, it used to be when I first started, like I started when the clinics like opened up and we had like a time frame of like 3 to 6 weeks, and that wasn't plausible. Like we grow and it's like trial and error. So we have patients that are like with us like a couple of touches, and then we have patients that have been with us like 1 to 2 years because like with addiction, like it's a back and forth. Like some days we have, some days we don't.
And there's no time frame. There's no like hard discharge date. It's all
no. You're never
it's all
like,
relative to,
like it's always like a really warm handoff. Like you're never like time's up, gotta go, slam the door, good luck. Like no, our providers, it's a multidisciplinary team. Like you'll have doctors, you'll have psychiatrists, you'll have therapists, you'll have people who are in recovery, if you who are not in recovery. And we all just kind of come together in this patient-centered care. Everyone's an individual. Everyone gets a different like caseload.
Amazing.
Reading my mind, Michael, with your words.
Well, you know, we're in sync today.
Yeah, exactly.
Today.
Sync. And I'm not even gonna make an NSYNC reference.
That's okay. Bye. It's my favorite.
She loves Sophia loves NSYNC and especially Justin Timberlake. Yeah. So that's why the reference.
Oh, I love it. Me too.
So tell us about some of the successes with Sublocade. It's actually like, I mean, I find Sublocade like amazing. I mean, I think that's like the ideal way for a person to be on buprenorphine, or like, you know, I think like, you know, they don't have to worry about taking it every day. And like maybe the physical action of taking something every day makes them not feel like dehumanizes them them having to take a shot once a month makes them feel more human. They don't have to rely on like the action every day.
Yeah, we've
And then
gotten
right.
raised on it. Raised. We've been doing it for almost 2 years now. So we've had patients on it for like almost 2 years, and it's really, really simple and easy. And after like we've had some patients like at first they're like, oh well, like I'm just so used to like taking that strip. So like the
Right.
first couple months are like kind of hard, and it's like breaking a habit. It's more like if you're when you stop smoking, like you need to chew gum or something, like that oral fixation. And then people just like forget. I've been told it's like really weird. Like I wake up and I don't have like that low energy point that I guess like patients can like get off like buprenorphine like when they first wake up. Like no, it's like I wake up and I go about my day. Like it's just
Wow.
and it's also it lasts like a lot longer in your system. So like yes, we give it every 28 days, but like at day 28 or 29, 30, it's not like you're sick and you're like dying or anything like that. It actually lasts like a lot longer than that, but for safety reasons, like we give it at 28 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And every patient is eligible if they're willing for the Sublocade just as well as the Suboxone, or is that a different authorization?
No, so like we do run PAs, but like most of our patients have mass health and like we haven't had any pushback. It's like hilarious. We'll get most pushback from like HMOs and PPOs for the union.
Right.
And after like, you know, the doctor writing a couple of letters or us like consistently being on them, we usually get everyone cleared. We haven't had a case where it's just like we just can't give it to somebody that wants to be on it. Fingers crossed, like we haven't had that come up because like I said, our team, like we just consistently advocate. Like I am that bug. Like I will call you and I will tell you you are not going BSAS regulate. Like I have no problem being that person.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Jess, you're up.
I think she might be frozen.
Is she frozen?
I'm telling you that internet is
He frozen or am I?
We're having bad. I mean, we're all having bad internet connections today. Other than Soph. Soph's been good.
I know.
But
She's been good.
You and I are really dropping the ball.
It's all right. It's right. We're normally pretty on stream with the internet connection. It's just today it's a little. I am outside. Maybe I shouldn't be. What did you ask me, Mike?
No, I heard you try to get in a question. I didn't.
We got to get connected, me and you, Sophia, because I work for Column Health, which is outpatient, save along the line.
Yeah, I have spoken to plenty of people at Column Health. Edwin Raffi is someone that we work with.
Yep.
He's one of the psychiatrists at the Hope Clinic. So I have meetings with him. Dr. Raffi, he's awesome. He's met with Spot before. Yeah.
So Tiara works so she actually even just said, also love learning about other resources in the area and how they work, what they offer. Super helpful. So Tiara's, you know, watching and learning and all that stuff. Pasquale Piantadosi, one of our former guests, said, "Hi, Sophia. Good to see you. Beautiful as ever. Mikey, get together at my house with the guys first week in August. So you're making plans."
Chippy, I'll be there. I'll bring the cigars.
Great.
There you go. Look at this service we're offering at Sundays at 7. We're making plans.
That's it.
Connecting. Great. Excellent.
That's awesome.
So you being a member of a 12-step fellowship that says, one of their lines is, in the basic text is diversity is our strength. Let's talk about diversity and the importance of diversity and you being a person of color who sought recovery. Let's talk about any adversities that you may or may not have faced and how we can eliminate those, because that's the goal here.
That's a good question.
That is. Adversity, finding treatment wasn't as difficult because of my skin color, mostly just because at the time, I got clean before mass health was mandated. So insurance is more of a barrier for me getting care for the longest time, if anything. But I think in active addiction, the adversity, and it's just in life as well. I've never been that girl that's ever been black enough, and people just always assume what maybe my drug of choice was, or how I partied or how I did anything. And I always put people I think just it's don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot, and now it's not as much at all, really. Especially for where I work in both at Mass General and at Banyan, it doesn't matter where you come from, or like your color or your background or your race or religion or anything like that. It's like we're all here for the same purpose. So that like that question has come up in like my personal life. It's come up like even at work, and when all the riots started and everything, we had a huge meeting, and I have I'm fortunate to work with like a team that comes from all races and backgrounds at MGH, and like we all like sat down and we like just kind of discussed it just to make sure that like, you know, we're understanding of each other, and like how like I may be taking it or somebody else may be taking it, but like also how our patients are handling it. And there was a time where I sat there and I was like, it's just really, really dark. Like, and I couldn't imagine like, you know, being like newly sober or clean, or like just being on that line when COVID first started. Like it was a line of isolation with like I'd sign on Facebook, and like I would hear things or like see what people posted, and like it got me to a place where I was just like, oh, I didn't think that person thought like that, or like I didn't know like that's like what they think. Like, do they think that about me? Like, it was just a really dark and isolating time. And I needed to, again, like, because I'm never completely done with this, I actually sought therapy. So my first time in 8.5 years, like I have like an active therapist that like I
Good
meet
for
with.
you.
And like I haven't even like met her face to face because in the era of COVID, but like we do telehealth. So like, you know, therapist like getting therapy help herself. Like
Yeah. Do you find it's easier to be open and candid with your therapist with doing it through telehealth, and you know, having like that screen in between the interaction? I think sometimes people are more apt to be more open, I guess. I don't know. Do you feel that way?
For myself, like I do a lot better with face to face.
Oh, in person. Okay.
Yeah, with in person. Even this, like, it's just really in the Zoom meetings. Like I do Zoom meetings. Maybe it's a lack of like personal connection. Like as soon as they were able to like open up our clinic and like get me in my 3 days, like I was like, I'm there. Like I'm there. Right. I'm so done with like working from home. Cause like I feel like it was a lot easier for me to tell my patients, or like have my patients tell me I'm doing well, I'm doing fine. And like I read body language, like I read vibes, and I can't get that. Like
you can't get
exactly.
It's not the same, and that's a real struggle, I think, with all face, you know. But how admirable is that? Is you realize, you know, I need to get a therapist. We're never done growing. We're never done, you know, changing, and I think that's incredible.
Yeah. And it's also like, you know, I had a patient tell me that was like, you know, I'm happy that you're back in the office. It's like your office is my safe space. Cause like, you know, her home is, so we would have telehealth visits, and it's like, how honest could she be in her home when her home isn't her safe space?
Wow.
So
that's powerful, you know.
Yeah.
To say that you're her safe space, you know, and who would have thought, you know, you said, you know, here I was shooting up in front of my mom, and now you're someone's safe space.
Nice, someone's space. That's amazing. Yeah.
Tracy Duch says, hi, Jessica girl. You know Tracy, right? Do you guys know Tracy? She goes to, well, she said hi. So hi, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy. We know her now.
Know, I'm sure you know her. She owns, runs a, I think, sober facility in Florida, but she comes up. I'm sure you'll meet her.
I'm sure I'll meet her. Yeah, hopefully.
One day.
Nice to meet everyone.
so for me, I'm so insecure. It's hard for me to do Zoom because I just I keep looking at myself.
I know.
Sure I don't have anything in my nose. Or,
like, do you have anything in my teeth?
You know, whatever hair I have left is in place, so the people know I have it. My wrinkles are 35 with the toddler. Yeah. But I commend you for going to therapy. You know, it's something that I've done in the past as well, because, you know, the helpers need help too. You know, just because we're a beacon of strength or a beacon of hope for somebody else doesn't mean we're not facing our own adversities, or, you know, the mind and you know, our own just low viewpoint of ourselves. So
and working it can get really heavy. Like it is. I really feel like sometimes you can take on like people's feelings, you can take on people's like traumas. It can get really, really dark. and heavy. And it's like, what are you doing? In order for me to help you, I have to be in some type of tip top shape. Like,
Exactly.
I can't hold the water if I'm leaking.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. She's showing you one liner for the night.
See,
Get all
hey,
the water, she's leaking.
I'm
Go.
all out of no one. You're not gonna get any one-liners from me. I'm not that witty tonight. I had a nap before this thing. I was up late watching the fights last night. Me up past like 10 p.m. is just, it's such a rare occasion that I'm lost today.
Really?
I thrive.
Yeah, I don't stay up
I'm
late.
a night owl. Old
Me
age is
too.
creeping in, yeah. The age is like creeping in as of late. Like I used to be able to ride around to like 2, 3 in the morning like a year ago. Now
Yeah.
I'm like 11. I'm like, oh, maybe I need to be on a couch. And, but I'm a night owl. I do a lot of overnights for Banyan. I did one last night. I'm doing one tonight. Like
I'm the same way. Suddenly it's like 11. And I'm like, why am I suddenly have energy to do all these things that I could have done like 4 hours ago?
Yeah, I like do my whole like agenda. I'm a Virgo. I operate like with lists and notepads. I have like 3 schedule. I have like 2 paper agendas. I have one in my phone. Everything's got to be linked. Like,
Yeah.
You sound like my fiance. I'm the complete opposite.
I'm not like that at all.
Yeah, I have no notes. I don't know what I'm doing, what's going on.
Whether you're
at any
coming or
time.
going, it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
organized chaos.
the show. And I was like, of course I have to see the show. I have to like see like how these questions were asked, like how the person. Of course I saw this.
And me and Mike are so like off the cusp, like we're running around by the like, what is it? The fly of our pants? What is it? The seat of our pants?
Seat of our pants, yeah. The fly of our pants, whatever. We're always getting yelled at. We're always getting yelled at too because we're never prepared.
Right. Right.
But it's all good.
So that's why people like our show, because it's so, it's impromptu, right?
Yeah.
Improv, yeah.
It's relaxing. You be honest when something's relaxing. It feels like rigid and tight. Like I'd be like,
oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you feel relaxed.
Yeah.
So a little something that we didn't talk about yet is Soap's a part of a pretty well-known nonprofit in the area that raises funds for addicts seeking recovery and treatment. Let's talk about Medford Overcoming Addiction and your part in that, and the kickball tournaments and all the fundraising and crowdsourcing you guys do.
I've been part of Medford Overcoming Addiction for about 5 years now. My really, really good friend, Janelle Rocco, started it out, and she like enroped my best friend, Alicia Langambina, who is...
I know Alicia.
Yeah, she's...
Alicia. I love Alicia.
Yep, City of Medford's recovery coach, and like / like social worker. So Janelle like reached out to Alicia and like pure Alicia fashion, like so if I'm doing this, so if you're doing it too. And it was like honestly one of the greatest things I've ever done. When I think of like truly giving back, like I think that's like where my passion, like everything I tend to do in life and everything that like brings me joy and happiness does some round of like either caretaking or like helping others. I always like share that like I have a handout and either you're picking me up or I'm picking you up, but like that hand's like consistently out. So that's what I feel like Medford Overcoming Addiction does. That we throw a really massive kickball tournament that this year we're like still on the fence about. I don't think like the city's gonna allow it and everything from COVID. I know.
It's like one of the best events of the whole. That's
it's the best day of my life, and like the amount of planning that goes into it. Like we're at Alicia's house the night before, like we're making all the packets, we're going to the field to like mark them down, and like we're there at the crack ass of dawn, and it's such a great fun day. Like it's probably the only day like I actually get like a true sunburn around here because I'm outside. We're like straight. We're like there like 7 in the morning, where it's like 9 o'clock at night, like cleaning up. But like that's where we raise most of our funds. And like since we're not doing it, like we're out, like we're tapped. Like we raise funds to put people in sober living, reputable sober living, just like you guys do. We've been doing that for a couple of years now. We work with like a church in Medford, and we operate as a nonprofit. And we've done like a couple of small events, like we've had cornhole tournaments and
woo woo.
Yeah, we've
So quick comment. So I'm like, I don't want to. So your fiance's name is Taiwani.
Taiwan.
All right. She said.
Is she commenting?
She said, Sophia. I don't think she's commented on you yet, but
She's not. No, but because it's Soph. Yeah, I figured
Sophia,
that.
it's Sophia with like a boom. So that I think that shows
Yeah.
her.
I
Sophia, you must
love
be
her.
awesome.
I love her. She's so sweet, so awesome. It's such a fashion icon. Like them two together are just like so
Oh,
perfect.
I see the. I'm like, wow, they're like.
I
I
I
can't
taught her
think of
I taught her
that.
everything she knows.
Oh, please. I'm sure it's the opposite. A nice try. She said, ha 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 ha, babe.
Yeah.
Oh, she's watching. She's great. She's great.
Yeah.
I love
Sorry,
you, babe.
I'm sorry. That's Taiwan, right?
Taiwan.
Am I
Yep.
saying it right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I'm the
Me
worst.
too.
I'm the worst. I'm sorry. Okay. What else? Best events beside Waltham. I think the kickball tournament's pretty good, but Waltham's pretty good too. And we're still, our event. We're not sure if we're doing yet, or right, Mike?
We're not sure. I mean, for right now it's a no, but who knows? You know.
Right.
I know, and
So-
it's like funny because like we really did start out as grassroots. Like I think the very first thing I ever did with Medford Overcome Addiction was like picketing in front of like the Medford police station to try to get them to carry Narcan. Like,
Wow.
like that was like a fight. Like everything in addiction care has always been like a fight. Like it's never like, oh, that's a great idea. Let's just do it.
And especially like 5 years ago, where it seems like, especially like police departments have come a long way.
Yeah.
But 5 years ago, I'm sure it was, why should we carry Narcan? Why?
Right.
Why do we?
People are just uncomfortable with change. Like no matter what type of change it is, good or bad, there's always like a type of loss, and like there's always like the fear of the unknown. It's like, if we're carrying this, are we welcoming it? Are we giving it the okay? At the end of the day, you're saving a life. Bottom line, saving a life.
Save the life.
Right.
Yeah, save the life in front of
Narcan
you.
is gonna get rid of all. That's not saying like let's bring in all the addicts. Everyone use for free. That's not.
No.
Right. That was such a common misconception about the Narcan, and that's a great point. That just because someone has Narcan doesn't mean that you're enabling them to use. They're going to use one way or not, whether you're carrying the Narcan or not. Someone's going to use it. They're going to use.
Absolutely.
It's harm reduction. It's outreach. Like everyone just needs like, I think addiction is in being active. Like you just really wake up every day thinking that no one gives a hell about you.
Right.
Right. Exactly.
Enough, and it's all those fears like we talked about, all that stuff, and then mixed with all the anxieties and this and that, and that's what it is.
And I think that's why we buy into the diversity. Like people in addiction buy into diversity more than, everyday Joe citizen, is because, I'm not saying it's the same. I'm not saying like being an addict is the same as, being, under scrutiny because of the color of your skin. But
right.
I'm saying like we buy into diversity because we wake up facing biases every day in our lives. So we're more compassionate. We're more empathetic towards that. We welcome everyone and we want to see everyone get well. I don't care what your skin color is. If you ask me for help, I'm going to help you. You know what I mean? And like that's my duty as a person in recovery who's been able to string along a little bit of time. It's like, I'm supposed to help the next person. This is how I keep it. You know what I mean? Everything I've learned is like, you don't keep what we have, like, unless you give it away. And like service is like the rent that I pay, like for living on this earth, and I've learned that only in recovery. And so it's like, we're more apt to be like open-minded and like willing to like meet anybody where they're at, no matter what the color of skin, race, gender, whatever, sexuality even,
because we all share the same pain. And that was something else that you said, Sophia, that like when you came in, where you discriminated because of your race, where you looked at, and I think it's because we all share that same desperation. My story might not be like your story, and your story might not be like Mike's story, but the feelings are the same. That pain is the same that we deal with in active addiction. So we're able to, it doesn't matter, like we can meet each other where we're at, and I get that person. I get that same pain she's talking about. When you talked about that situation with your mom, using for that last time, maybe I haven't done that, but I get the pain. I get the, desperation of needing to get into treatment and wanting and having some, surrender of, I don't want to live like this anymore. And I'm going to do whatever I can at the willingness, right? It's the willingness, I guess we're talking about, right? The willingness to keep going through the struggle.
Absolutely.
So all events are canceled in Waltham, Debbie just told me. So our event is a no.
Yeah.
Boo. So, have you guys come up with any other like game plan for raising funds for Medford Overcoming Addiction? We're trying to like brainstorm and figure out how.
Exactly. We're definitely like in that process. It's like, what can we do? Because it's sad because we all are tied in. We get a lot of messages probably through Facebook and our Medford Overcoming Addiction Facebook page, but also like personally. And it's like it's not a great feeling to be like, I'm sorry, we can't help.
Right.
And that's not
that sucks.
we've ever said in like my 5 years of doing this until now. Like this coronavirus really like just threw everything for like a whirlwind. So we're open to ideas too. Like, please let us know. I said, like, we have the Facebook page, like me, Janelle, or Alicia will answer you. Like, let us know.
I love it. I
love it.
Richie actually has a couple good ideas for us. So we're waiting to like make one come to fruition, but we got some ideas in the works. You know what I mean? Addiction's not going to stop just because, we can't get together. So people are going to still need funds. We got a little guest today.
Hi.
Are you down with the pew?
Hi.
Had to make a cameo.
He had to make a cameo. He hasn't been on yet, right? I don't think he's been on.
He should just be on with us. And you, Mike, you go downstairs.
Right?
Oh, that's messed up.
I'm just kidding. Hi. So have you noticed, I know we kind of touched upon about the changes with the COVID. Have you noticed like a decline or an increase in overdoses, either in the ED or through Medford Overcoming Addiction? Like what's changed about overdoses? Like it's because people aren't talking about it as much, right? Because Corona and everything else going on, people are forgetting that this is still an epidemic we're being faced with.
Exactly. There's definitely been an increase of substance use disorder like use in our emergency department. Like it's definitely on the uptake, but not so much like overdoses. Crystal meth, if people aren't aware, it has hit the scene, has hit the scene extremely hard. We've been battling with it for almost a year now, and like unfortunately, like we don't have like a maintenance treatment for it. Like honestly, the only thing that has like really been proven to like work through like studies or anything like that is like positive reinforcement. So it's like we would need the fund for like here's a gift card, like legit, like things like that is like what's been proven.
Because the reward center in your brain has been compromised, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's really it's not something that I have like personal like history with. Like it just wasn't around when I was running them up there. So it can be difficult like to watch, like, but everything that like I've learned from it is firsthand. Like it's people telling me, like, these are the feelings on it. Like, this is what happens when I'm crashing. This is what happens when I've been up for like 3-4 days at a time, like doing this. And it's like finding more help and research for that. Cause again, like that's not a protocol that you can get at detox.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And the only crystal meth that was around when I was using was on Breaking Bad. So, know, it was never, but you know what I've heard is that people are going to the crystal meth because they're afraid of dying from the fentanyl. So that they're going more to because it's, I guess, around up here more than it was. It was never really, east, whatever, northeastern thing. Now it's becoming more and more accessible.
Exactly.
Julie, our founder, actually said she heard CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, helps with crystal meth. I think it helps with all types of addiction.
Yeah, that's the prime therapy go-to model of for addiction, for mental health. So I'm sure it helps.
Changing the way you think, right?
Absolutely.
Like usually my patients, if they're coming right off of, like, the best we could give them is like a dark room, which we now have because like the Bridge Clinic moved from like this really small area that we had. MGH went and like built us like this like really really like nice space, and we have like basically like it's like a dark sleeping room.
And that will help with the crystal meth.
That will like help with like that crash. It's like getting people to the point where like they're able to open and listen. Like if you're coming right in off a 3-day run, it's not happening. We need to feed you. Like it's just not. You're not willing to do CBT at that moment.
Julie said too, and meth is going to get way worse in this area. It's cheaper and lasts longer.
Yeah. This is only like the tip of it.
Right. And I heard about this like probably a year ago it was coming, and now it's really, it seems like it really is starting. So that's another thing. Let's bring awareness to that. You know, crystal meth is becoming more and more a thing in these regions too.
Yeah.
What else? What else you got?
So, all right. So here's a good one. It's a controversial one, but it's a good one. So what are your thoughts? So it must be hard for you to be subscribe to a 12-step fellowship that, says the answer is complete abstinence. And then on the other hand, work for an MAT provider. And I know you personally, so I know you're compassionate, empathetic, and you don't really take a hard line with the complete abstinence thing. But what do you think 12-step fellowships can do, like, to make it a little bit easier on the person who maybe, pulls up to a meeting for the first time? They may be on Suboxone, they may be on methadone, they may be on Sublocade. What can we do as members of a 12-step fellowship to make them feel more welcomed and a part of, and to allow them to receive that spiritual pathway that's gifted us?
Yeah, you said all the words right there. Just first and foremost, welcome them.
Right.
And welcome them like really means like include them, like bring them in. That's like probably like one of my biggest struggles. It's like, yeah, you can come in and like, listen to the meeting, but it's like, how much are we allowing them to participate? Like how much are we allowing them to like truly like feel included? Like, just because I didn't come in on like a substance or anything like that didn't mean like I wasn't like holding on for my seat. That's exactly what they're doing. They're holding on for their seat. Like, absolutely. Let them come and feel comfortable and find their way. And it's not up for you or anybody to judge on how long that process takes.
Exactly.
Individual. Because I actually have a personal
Jess, I see you back there. You're fired up, ready to spit some fire.
I have a personal experience with this, and I love everything both of you just said. So when I first got clean 10 years ago, I was on prescription methadone. And I was going to meetings. I was clean, all this stuff. And I would tell a couple people here and there. And then I remember I was coming up to 1 year, and I was still on prescription methadone, only told a couple people. And I remember we were celebrating, and someone goes to me, what are we celebrating again? Aren't you on methadone? And I never went back to a meeting. And it took me, 7 years later to get completely, back into it and back to meetings. Cause I was just like, oh, so I'm still a piece of crap, like, because I'm on this. And that's not, luckily I didn't die, luckily It was just that kind of like, I don't fit in here. If I don't fit in at, a 12-step meeting, then where do I fit in? If I'm on, and I call it prescription methadone because I think the way that we stop changing the stigma is the way that the verbiage,
prescription methadone. I love that.
What sounds better? Oh, I'm gonna go to the clinic to get my dose, or I'm gonna go get my prescription from a treatment facility.
Right.
So like what sounds more humane? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go wait for my, I'm gonna go, it just, someone once taught me that, and it kind of was like, wow, that does change the way you think about it, and it doesn't make you feel like lower than whale shit.
Lower than whale shit.
And like being part of a 12-step fellowship, they teach us to like live on principles, integrity, like humility, and I can still practice or learn to practice and try my best to do all of that, no matter what's in me.
That's right.
I love it.
So tell me
what's right. Yeah, and I think the people who wrote, the big book or the basic text, they didn't face such a pandemic. We're facing, like, we call it an epidemic, but it's really a pandemic as well, addiction, because it's worldwide and it affects people of every race, color, creed, nationality, and it kills millions of people every year.
It kills so many people
globally
to death. Like it's crazy. Like you can scroll on Facebook and see like an obituary, and you can continue scrolling, and have like the next slide down be something funny and like laugh. Like you become so desensitized to it.
Right.
That's how bad of a pandemic it has become. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and when all those and when all like the rules and the traditions were written, it was a long time ago. I don't know if it was addiction was as harsh as it is now. So, just like anything, you adapt and you get better over time. You overcome over time. So, I think, for me personally, I'll sponsor a guy on prescription methadone. I'll sponsor a guy on Suboxone, Sublocade, Vivitrol, whatever, because it's not up to me when that person's gonna, receive that gift of hope and, and be willing to recover, and they may be on Suboxone for years, and it's not my concern. It's not my business.
Or they could just be on it for a little bit, but it's up to that person. And at least we need to, I'm a 12-step person too, and we at least need to be open enough to welcome them where they're at, and like give them the strength. So you don't need to be on this forever, or you do. Whatever the choice is up, it's up to the person.
Yeah.
Or the professional, the professional in your life that you're seeing for it.
Like, I'm not going to go there and give you an oil change. I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm not.
All right. So we got a few minutes left.
We got a few minutes left. What a great show, though.
Oh my God. I'm sorry about the internet connection. I don't know if it's me and the wind, or it was not working either. So I guess.
Well, mine wasn't. Don't blame yourself. Mine wasn't working either. So,
but
Soph's
a little bit too.
Soph's been on point. I had a great time.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've probably seen you in person, but we've just never.
Definitely, yeah.
But I can't wait to we can all connect again. We'll have to have like all of our Zoom on. What?
It just came to me.
What?
Before we ended, it just came to me.
One-liner.
No, not a one-liner. So some people think like getting in recovery is a sentence of boredom, not much going on. You have been one of the people who knows how to have fun in recovery.
Oh, I love this.
And I know you personally. So give the viewers some tips on how to have some fun in recovery.
That was a great one. I'm so happy that came to you.
Right.
Build relationships. Like, I truly believe everything fun is shared with someone else in my life. Like, build relationships, like get active, let people know who you are, say hello. It doesn't matter how shy you are. Like, you can be quiet at a pool party, like you can still connect with somebody. Like build like a connection. Like, my life is so full, and it's usually full because like I'm crazy and I'm always adding things onto it between the 2 jobs and like school. Like, I start full-fledged nursing school in September, and
talk about that.
I know.
I'm nervous and anxious about it, and hoping
You'll
that
be fine. I was in nursing school for a minute in the middle of my addiction, so if you're sober, you can do it. You're fine. You'll be fine.
And like I said, like I was on a track of pre-med for so long before like things just got like so crazy. So I'm really looking forward to it. And like Mikey said, like my life is a lot of baby showers and weddings and birthday parties, and I'm really happy. I get to travel. I get to build like relationships, and I get to have fun. Like, I have a family in my life. I have significant others. I have friends. I have nieces. I have goddaughters. Like, I have nephews. Like, all of that was afforded to me because I decided like one day to actually do this and take a suggestion.
I gotta tell you, even though we're virtually, I can like feel your energy from over here, and it gets me so excited. It's awesome. It can like everyone out there can, and just know that, reach out to us if you need help. Sophia's another resource we have. It's a community. It takes a village to help an addict.
And Mikey didn't say anything, but Mikey loves to have fun too. Like, I remember those dance floors we used to crush.
Oh shit! Yeah, dance. Boy, that's my thing. Dance. It's not my thing anymore, but it was my thing.
Oh jeez.
It was. A couple of halls that shut down.
So next week, please tune in. First of all, I want to thank Sophia. This was amazing. You did amazing. She texted me that she was nervous. No need to. You killed it.
You did amazing.
Next week, we got Pat Cronin on from Arc Behavioral Health.
Of Pat. Good man.
Another powerhouse.
another powerhouse. We got powerhouse lined up all throughout August already, so it's going to be good if you enjoy it.
Thank you. This has been such a great opportunity. This has been so much fun. And like, honestly, just bringing awareness and like coming together to be like, hey, like we can do this, and we've done this, and we're here to help. Like, thank you for this. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you, Deb.
Thank you.
What's the Greater Waltham Recovery Solution mission is to raise funds and awareness to connect people into treatment and recovery, access to recovery coaches in the community, provide more available opportunities for veterans to get treatment and those who are seeking help, and scholarship people into sober living. That was by memory.
Love it. Good job.
And world, don't forget, please leave the world a better place than you found it.
Happy Sunday.
Happy
Thank you,
Sunday.
Sophia.
Thank you.